Good day to each and everyone, especially to you, Captain Benjamin Ramos. Today we are here to present our video presentation about the given topic, Section 7.4, Vessel in Port. So we are the Group 4F, and this is Decadet Kaubat Michael Rady, together with my group mates, Decadet Anyora Arlando, Decadet Santos de los Noel Jan, Decadet Tagra Albert Jan, and Decadet Camilio Jed. So the objectives of this topic is to determine harbor watch and patrol, know how to communicate with shore authorities, to identify bunkering sampling procedures for vessels using bunkers, procedures when the ship is temporarily mobilized, and to understand the precautions when redocking the ship. So first is harbor watch and patrol. It being understood that ISP's code requirements and provisions of CSO, the master must, as soon as possible, ensure the safety of life, ship, cargo, and port installation, observe international, national, and local rules, maintain order on the vessel's normal routine, and comply with security requirements. So all of those informations are the master's responsibilities. The master and chief engineer must decide the composition and duration of the watch, taking into account the mooring, type of vessel, and nature of duties. The following must be observed. On arrival, the master shall take note of all information regarding any special requirements of the port authorities, of loader or cargo and or terminal. Notwithstanding the above, a minimum number of seafarers must remain on board to ensure compliance with deck and engine watch. This is very important, the deck and engine watch. So next is duties in case of emergency. In particular, a certain number of qualified officers and crew must always be available on board for the purpose of moving the ship upon portal authority requirement in emergency situation. Handling cargo and mooring, security, patrol of the gangway, and firefighting control. So the first topic is harbor watch and patrol. So the master has the overall command of the ship, so he is the one in charge for all of the information regarding any special requirements of the port authorities before entering the port. So the master shall take note all of the information so that there will be no unnecessary conflicts. So next is communication with shore authorities. Further, to be under an obligation to ship security plan, it is master's responsibility to obtain information on how to communicate with the following authorities: shore fire brigade, port authorities, first aid hospitals. So the means of communication may be telephone or a portable VHF, which means very high frequency with the intrinsically safe properties. So the master will contact the shore fire brigade in case of fire in case of fire present on board, port authorities if there are requirements that needs to be complied, and first aid hospitals if there are injuries or health problems. So the captain must use the VHF, any means of communication. So next is bunker sampling procedures for vessels using bunkers. At all bunkering operation, the chief engineer has to take bunker samples to avoid accidents or pollution. The following procedure is to be followed. So 1. Let the bunker drop continuously into one drum placed under drain tap on the manifold during all bunkering operations. 2. Collect samples from this drum. 3. Samples sealed and labeled with the date and place of delivery must be signed by the chief engineer and bunker supplier representative. We will keep one sample. 4. One sample should be given to shore labs for analysis, and the remaining samples should be stored on board until new disposition, ready for analysis in case of claims or other problems. Bunker should always be received, if feasible, in empty tanks to facilitate the possibility of segregating different fuels giving problems. Avoid the compatibility problems arising from different fuels. Easy operations according to Annex 6 of MARPOL. So Annex 6 is all about the air pollution. So if you use the acronym, una sigaa. So the Annex 6 is air pollution. Next, procedures when a ship is temporarily immobilized. So these are the procedures or action to be taken when the ship is immobilized. So when the vessel is temporarily immobilized, arrangements are to be provided to ensure adequate safeguards against fire, flooding, and mooring conditions if the vessel is afloat. The master must establish patrolling on board. If the firefighting system is not available, suitable substitute system must always be available. So which means if there is fire occurred in the ship, we can use the fire extinguishers. There are designated areas that have placed fire extinguishers. Such system may be the portable fire pump or the connection of the ship's fire main with the shore water fire system through the international shore connection. So, as mentioned earlier, in communication with shore authorities, if there are fire, so the master shall use any means of communication like VHF to communicate with the shore fire brigade. If for maintenance reason, the fixed fire extinguishing system is not available, additional portable extinguishers must be fitted and continuous patrol of the ship, especially for higher fire risk locations. So, ang higher fire risk locations is the engine, the cafeteria. Oh, actually, everywhere Magadis, there are higher fire risk locations. So, to be maintained so that a fire may be promptly detected and extinguished. Furthermore, if required by the port authorities and or in the case of open flame work, a suitable shore fire team must always be present on board. So, before seafarers are allowed to be on board, they must be or they must have a certificate or a training which is firefighting and advanced firefighting, so that they can help to minimize or put out fire on board the ship. Next is precautions when redocking the ship. So there are two precautions when redocking the ship. First is preparing the vessel for the docking, and second is flooding the dock or floating the vessel. So first, preparing the vessel for the docking. When the vessel is scheduled for the dry docking, it being understood that part responsibility and authority of master on the board. The following precautions are to be taken. First, fuel tank content is to be kept to a minimum. Fuel tanks adjacent to tanks in which maintenance works is programmed are to be empty and ventilated. Fuel tanks to be maintained or repaired are to be rendered gas-free. 2. The ship must be emptied from ballast and all free surface must be lowered. 3. All double bottoms and tanks are to be sounded and relevant content recorded. 4. Main and auxiliaries engines must be fed on diesel oil for the time necessary to replace heavy fuel in the feed piping. 5. Diesel oil service tanks for auxiliary and emergency engines must be full. 6. Electrical connection with the shipyard is to be prepared. And 7. A fire hose and international connection are to be prepared to connect fire line with shipyard's line. So those are the precautions that needs to be implemented for us to minimize accidents when docking. So second is flooding the dock or refloating the vessel. Before flooding the dock or refloating the vessel, one must check. So the one who check this is the officer in charge. Check that all sea valves are shut and that all piping being repaired are connected. Check bottom plate, draining plug are fitted and the tail shaft oil glands do not show any oil leakage. Remove all gangways. Disconnect the electrical connection with shipyard. So those are before flooding the dock procedures. So after flooding the dock or refloating the vessel, check sea valves and piping do not leak. Sound all compartments to verify that no water has entered. Check the water surface around the ship to verify that no pollution due to leakage of the aft tail shaft gland has occurred. So, the master must establish a patrolling system on board. If for any reason the fixed fire extinguishing system is not available, additional portable extinguishers must be fitted, and continuous patrol of the ship, especially for high fire risk conditions, is to be maintained so that a fire may be promptly detected and extinguished. Furthermore, if required by the port authorities and or in a case of open flame work, a suitable shore fire team must always be present on board. So, the master is the overall command of the ship. He has the authority to call for help using any means of communication. So, those are the objectives or the overall report that are given to us, which is vessel and port. So that's all. Thank you.